What's going on, guys? Sinister here, back with another Smite video, and we are doing the patch notes for patch 3.17, the Odyssey 2017. There is a lot of stuff to go over in these patch notes. Not so much updates with items and gods like it usually is, but just because it's the Odyssey, the Odyssey's coming. There are 3 new skins, and it's part of the Odyssey. So these skins are involved in the Odyssey, where you can buy them through that and get more rewards, but we'll explain that later. But the new skins are Foxy Amaterasu, and it's basically Amaterasu wearing a fox onesie, kind of like a furry type thing. Samurai.ai Susano, so like samurai. It's kind of like a cyberpunk, steampunk, tech, kind of creepy Susano skin. It's a really badass skin. The animations for it and the colors on his like ult and just his katana and everything is really, really cool. It's an amazing skin. I expect it to be 600. I don't know. I think they have the how much it is, but I have to check. And there is Old Wad, New Wad. The original model from New Wad is back. They didn't remodel her and bring her. It's just a skin. It's a New Wad skin. So if you want to play as the old New Wad, you can select the skin and be the old New Wad. And whenever you go up in her ult in this skin, she comes back down as a snake and stays like that for the rest of the game. So it's kind of like a tier 5, but it's not a tier 5. It's really complicated, but Old Wad, New Wad, that is a bonus reward, I believe. I believe you can't buy this one. I think you kind of just earn this, but I'm not quite sure. And then Terra Masteries are out as well. New card arts, just the New Wad Masteries. She gets a revamp, so her Mastery skins are changed, kind of like they did with the Wheelix last time. I don't know why they're not doing this once every patch. I think I mentioned that before, because they really got to update those. A lot of the Mastery skins are just awful, like Vamana's. It's just bad. They need to change it. We get some achievements for Geb, Habwa, and as well as Izanami. But we're going to get right into the Odyssey. The very first thing, like I said, it starts this patch 3.17. Each week there will be 7 quests to complete, and they'll reward you with even more Odyssey points. So the way they described it is you don't even have to spend money to get the rewards and the big reward at the end, which is the tier 5 Anubis skin. You can and make it easier, but you don't have to. You just have to grind out a lot harder. So the first 3 Odyssey things are the Foxy Amaterasu, Samurai Susano. There is an Odyssey loading frame as well, and the Old Wad, New Wad, which is a collection reward. Another thing they're bringing to this is Xing's King of the Mountain, or Xing's Mountain, I believe it's called. It's a new game mode, PvE style too. It's basically like a traditional raid boss in any MMOs, and that is like each round. Actually, I'll just read word for word what they have. Players will begin at level 13 with 7,500 gold. So you can queue at single, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. It doesn't matter. It's a 5v raid boss game mode, whatever you want to call it. And you start off at level 13. You don't get any higher levels, so that is your level. You have 7,500 gold, and you cannot sell anything. Once you get to round 4 or 5, whatever, you can't change your mind and sell things. And team comp is very important because they said some bosses might only be able to take magical damage, not physical. So you have to really, get maybe a Kepri to revive somebody. Make sure you have a healer like a Hell or a Changa. Some physical, some magical, everything. Team comp is very important. So 7,500 gold, level 13. You fight randomly selected encounter and try to defeat them in the time limit. If you get success, you move on to the next round, and it'll be more difficult in defenses and damage. And there are like a leaderboard with rankings, so you get to round so and so whatever, and if you get like an extra point for how much time is left on the clock, you get extra bonus points for how many people survived, etc., stuff like that. And you just basically get to the top of Xing's Mountain, highest round. I think once you get to round 25, I believe, you get some sort of bonus chest for the Odyssey, but I'm not quite sure. It doesn't really say in the patch notes, but they mentioned that while they were doing them live. So yeah, that's going to be very, very cool. I'm super excited at the Odyssey. I want that tier 5 Anubis. I love Goobus. Who doesn't love Goobus? It's got to be everybody's favorite. Some item changes to Ansile. It increases the silence effect from 20 to 30 of the radius. So Ansile gets a little buff. Celestial Legion Helm gets a pretty nice buff too. It increases its physical protections from 70 to 90. So you're going to be seeing that on mid laners a lot more than you do, especially in the competitive scene, I believe. All the boots get changes too, and what they're trying to do is make the less common of the boots more viable. So like Ninja Tabby and like Shoes the Focus, or yeah, I believe. Ninja Tabby's buff, it increases his attack speed from 15% to 20%. So you get that initial attack speed, and it gives you an extra 100 mana. So, you know, these boots to start would be good on people like Xbalanque or Artemis. It gives them a little more mana usage since they don't really have any clear, and they can go ahead and use their autos faster to help clear that lane. So that's actually going to be a nice item change for Ninja Tabby. You're going to see that a lot more on some hunters. Maybe it'll definitely help out, you know, the Kalis and the Bakas for people who run Ninja Tabby on them. Reinforced Shoes and Reinforced Greaves get the same change. New passive. Each time you take damage from an enemy god, you gain a stack of Reinforced Armor, providing 5 physical and magical protections. It stacks up to 5 times and lasts 6 seconds, but it also refreshes with each stack gained. So, in a sense, you get up to 25 magical and physical protections with this. That's what the passive gives you, especially in team fights and stuff like that, once you were taking damage from enemy gods. Runeforged Hammer also gets a buff similar to Ancile and increases its aura effect and radius from 20 to 30. Going back to the Shoes of Focus, they give this a little buff, increasing its magical power from 30 to 40. So before, this was more just, okay, get the cooldown boots, or you want to get the pen boots, and Shoes of the Magi was just more viable 90% of the time, because it gives you a lot more raw power, gives you the penetration. And if you didn't really need cooldown, you wouldn't, you know, get the Shoes of Focus, but now the Focus gives you a little more power, and it still gives you that cooldown, so it's going to be a lot more viable. Talaria boots, they didn't list Traveler's boots either, so I'm guessing just Talaria. It reduces its cost from 1500 gold to 1400 gold, and it increases its physical power from 10 to 15. So, Talaria boots gets a nice little change there. I still don't think a lot of people are going to be running with them. Some god changes. Bastet increases her mana per 5 per god level from 0.18 to 0.25, and it also increases her base mana from 215 to 230. Her Pounce mana cost is reduced by 10 at each level, so 70 to 90, it is now down to 60 to 80. Her Razor Whip, this is the one I hate. I hate Bastet. A Bastet ruins the game for me. I could go like 40-0, but if there's a Bastet in the game, it ruins it. I just hate her with every ounce of my body. I just do not like Bastet. Her Razor Whip damage gets an increase, because as if her bleed didn't already take half your health away in early game. From 25, basically a 5 damage increase per tick every level. So from 25 to 105 before is now 30 to 110. But the physical power scaling is reduced from 25% to 20%. So not really a buff on that, kind of just a balance out. You know, I don't know. Make her early game a little better, as if it wasn't good enough, and I guess her later game is going to fall off with the Razor Whip. Izanami also gets some buffs. Her Fade Away stealth duration is increased from 3 to 5, now 4 to 6, so a 1 second increase per level. Her Dark Portal, which is her ultimate, I believe, increases its damage from 250 to 610 before. Now it's 250 to 650. So it starts off the same, but per level goes up. So it used to be 250, 340, 430. I believe that's, I can't really see, 550, 610. Now it's 250, 350, 450, 550, 650. So it starts off the same, but it makes it to where you kind of have to upgrade that. It's a little more viable to upgrade that whenever you're available. And the scaling is increased from 120% to 130% as well. Nemesis gets a little nerf, thank the Lord. Her cooldown on her ult is increased from, it was 70 seconds at all ranks. Now it is 90, 85, 80, 75, 70. So you're not going to be able to just completely say goodbye to an enemy early game, because you have an extra 20% cooldown. Or 20%, not 20%, 20 second cooldown to start off with. Nua's Clay Soldiers get a buff, kinda. Not really. It's just to better attack intended targets. Minions will always prioritize enemy gods that are damaging Nuwa. If there are no gods attacking Nuwa, the minions will then target the closest enemy until a god damages any ally or Nuwa. So, yeah, pretty self-explanatory. But it reduces the protection shred per stack. It used to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It is now 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So, yeah, her minions kind of get a little buff and kind of a little nerf as well. So there's that. Poseidon gets a little buff. His movement speed is increased on his Tide from 10% to 15%. And his Trident basically is kind of not a buff per se. Before, when you activate a Trident, you would have to wait for the animation to finish and then basic attack. Well, now the animation, he still does the animation, but you can cancel that and start basic attacking right away. Or if you want to watch the animations, you can watch the animation as well. Ravon gets a nice nerf, a well-deserved nerf. He's not going to just completely bully everybody in Soul Lane. His cooldown on his Onslaught is increased from 8 seconds to 9 seconds. His 10-hand Shadow Fist reduces heal per hit from 15, 30, 45, 60, 75 to 10, 25, 40, 55, and 70. So basically 5 per hit, which is nice. And Terra now gets kind of a general fix, little buff slash nerf. It's something small. Whenever she has stones, they'll now show a crack texture when they're about to fade. So the enemies know when your stones are about to run out. You know, your allies know. Everybody knows now. So kind of just something like they did with Erlang Shen's ult. Give a little more recognized feel to know when they're about to run out. That's going to wrap it up for the Odyssey, guys. I'm sorry I didn't go too much in depth with the Odyssey itself. There's not a lot on the patch notes, but I will link the patch notes in the description, per usual, so you can go check that out yourselves if you want to see what all is in them. As always, guys, my social media links are in the description, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I try to do a review on the patch notes every single time, so I will be back in the next couple weeks for another one. Like I said, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button if you would, drop a comment, any suggestions, and until next time, guys, thank you for the support, and I'll see you again soon.